Hey, good morning, girl. It's your dad, Miguel. So today is the 19th of January, 2019. And today I had forecasted that I would not have braces on, but I was mistaken. Indeed, I still and continue to have braces on, um, at least for another 5 weeks. And the reason is, well, I don't know. The reason is I here's the thing about the orthodontist that we go to. I'm not really sure what the future holds. I'm not sure what the overall plan is. And I have a feeling that it may be really difficult to plan, that um, who knows how teeth are going to behave from appointment to appointment, and maybe that's the reason. Maybe there's though, what's true is that I just don't know what's going to happen next. I thought that I was going to get the braces off, but like I mentioned, I was mistaken. There must have been some kind of misunderstanding. That's okay. I can wait an extra month. Um, so I think the focus now is on my lower teeth, the teeth around here around my lower jaw, and I think they're trying to straighten out some of the bottom teeth, and we'll see how that works out. So I'm looking forward to traveling to Los Angeles today. Excited about that. I have a plan to go visit Universal Studios in Hollywood, California. I'll be taking I'll be driving most of the way, but I'll be taking a subway the last leg of the trip. And I have a feeling that today is going to be a nice warm day in Southern California, down in LA. I think I heard that the high today in Hollywood, California will be 75 degrees Fahrenheit, which is just perfect. And so that's nice. I'm really looking for a nice walk and just an enjoyable time deep in the city. um, I'm kind of curious about what's going on with you. How are your classes going? Are you meeting up with your friends? What kind of books are you reading? I'm especially interested in what books you're reading these days, Emily. Why is that? Because I am reading a lot of books recently. I've been getting up at 4:30 every morning and reading for 30 minutes on my Kindle or my smartphone, and it's been a really wonderful practice. I've really been enjoying this reading that I've been doing, and it's really excellent to set aside time, make reading a habit, make an appointment with yourself, and pursue this activity of reading. It's really enjoyable in that it sort of gets me on track. Now, unfortunately, I didn't do it this morning. I was just too excited about getting my day started and heading off to Hollywood, California, that I decided to drop it for today. But it is reading every morning really is a true and helpful and interesting part of my day. It's also becoming an important part of my day. What is important about reading? Well, I like the consistency of it. It's a really great jumpstart of the day. I like to read encouraging material, self-help books, self-development books, and that really gets me on track and sets me up for having lots of helpful reminders during the day, which helps optimize my attitude and my thought process. Just helps me get me on track. I really appreciate that. I've really been looking forward to what's going to be happening this semester at Allen Hancock College. School starts next week, and I am charged. I can't wait to start. I'm super excited about my welding class. I've got a welding technology textbook that I want to pick up. I think I'm just going to purchase that textbook the day before the class at the bookstore. in Santa Maria. That's a possibility. Or, I think that's probably the main possibility. And then I'm excited about taking my beginning yoga class at Ellen Hancock every Friday night. I think it's like at 6, maybe 6 o'clock p.m. Really excited about that. I think that's going to be life-changing. I really want to become more disciplined when it comes to stretching and doing yoga. And I'm really hopeful that this is going to set in my neurology, in my brain, a really nice habit for, performing self-care, caring for my body, caring for my muscles, caring for my emotional health. I think it's going to go a long way. I just haven't had the patience to pull together a yoga practice that I perform regularly, every day or every other day. I have given it some effort. For example, I started a monthly membership at some time at one point with yogaglow.com. That's a website that has various teachers online. They've got videos that show people doing yoga, and I was inspired by it, but I never did really set up a regular practice. And I'm hoping that the 17 weeks of the spring semester of 2019, doing yoga every week will really instill that habit in me. It's something that I want to do. And I think that this class will be a wonderful introduction to the yoga practice. And for me also, it's also going to be an avenue for me to plug into the subculture, the yoga subculture, which is a really powerful subculture. And it's something I want to be a part of. But to do that, to be a part of it, I need a little boost. I need a jump start. And I'm really hopeful that this class is going to help me out. So I'm really gearing up to, with this attitude of curiosity and openness to the practice, and a willingness to practice on a weekly basis. And I want to really submerge myself in the culture as much as I can, and learn as much as I can from the teacher and from the other students in the class. Maybe they will have had some connection to yoga before, and that would be really helpful. I want to sort out my costume, my dress, my workout clothes. I want to get that sorted, and I want to sort out getting, let's say, a yoga mat and a water bottle and a towel and whatever it takes to make it happen. even a sweatband on my forehead. Who knows what it'll take? What will it take? Really, I'm sure it's just an internal thing. It's just hopefully it'll develop some kind of internal motivation, internal commitment to doing it. And that's all I want. That's all I need. So hopefully that this class will be the boost I need to make that happen. All right, so let's move on to the next segment. I've been reading a book called Attitudes of Gratitude by M.J. Ryan, and I've got my Kindle notes here. And in a way, this is kind of like a book club where I want to talk about some of the passages that I've read in the book. These are passages that I've highlighted, I found consequential, noteworthy, and I wanted to, highlight them so that we can discuss some of these ideas. So the first quotation that I want to discuss is on page 108 of the book. By the way, you have the book too, because I sent a copy to you. Really good. It's a really good book. It's one of my favorite books that I've read recently. So on page 108, I highlighted this statement. It says, "This kind of awareness practice, the more specific the better, is great for fostering a sense of appreciation for the ordinary. So, fostering a sense of appreciation for the ordinary and making it a daily practice. Yeah, so our brains are really cued into novelty. We like new stuff. And sometimes, our days are the same. Much of our days are the same. And if we can learn to look at the world in a different way, even the ordinary world in a different way, I think we can really make inroads into achieving greater levels of happiness. It's about gratitude. It's like these kind and gentle good feelings. It's these good feelings, really. It's thankfulness. Thankfulness is all about experiencing and becoming aware of the good feelings that are coursing through your mind and through your body, right? In fact, here's the thing about life. Living means that there is this continuous stream of good feelings just floating around. It's continually, we're bathed in good feelings. Our body is continuously giving us feedback about what's going on. And a lot of that feedback is positive feedback, right? The way my mouth feels, the way my voice resonates in my throat and chest and head, the way my body moves, my shoulders move. There's a lot of positive feedback going on right here. The way the strength in my hands. I feel this stuff every day, and these are good feelings, right? Even the sound of my voice and the pleasure that I get from looking at the beautiful things around me. Even my body and, the engineering aspects or the physical aspects of my surroundings, this beautiful couch that I'm on, right? I have these good feelings relating to just the heat in my apartment and the light that is, that's sort of illuminating me. So these are all good feelings. The light, the warmth, the comfort, the strength. These good feelings they're here all the time, surrounding me, moment to moment. And I ignore them. As soon as I acknowledge them, they're ignored. They're dismissed. Can you believe it? Why? Because they're continuously around me, right? These feelings are continuous, and my brain finds them uninteresting. My brain is always looking for the excitement, the newness, the adventure, the problem areas. So my brain is working against me. It's literally blocking out, making invisible all these good feelings that are continuously around me. I'm completely ignoring them. Can you believe it? Can you believe it? My brain is ignoring and making invisible all these good feelings. And what am I doing? I'm focusing on the new problems that are arising. What's the next problem? My brain is always seeking out what's the next problem. And the funny thing is that 99% of my life, 98% of my life are these good feelings. There's success going on. I'm able to set up, right? I've got the strength to do the dishes. I've got the strength. I've got the, enjoyment of water flossing my teeth and my braces and using my electric toothbrush. I just can go on. I could go on with the infinite amount of good feelings that I felt just this morning since I woke up at 4:30 a.m. this morning. Literally an infinite number of good feelings, which my mind has methodically dismissed and forgotten, made invisible. So what is happiness about if it isn't about really taking the ordinary and fostering a sense of appreciation for it, right? What does it mean to foster a sense of appreciation for the ordinary? First of all, it means recognizing the invisible, right? Somehow I've got to sort of recognize what my brain dismisses every day, right? It's something I've got to start valuing, right? The value of the present moment, the ordinary in the present moment, and making it new again. I ate strawberries today. And of course, I eat strawberries the way I always eat strawberries for breakfast. I've got a way. I love strawberries, by the way. They're one of my favorite fruits. And I ate each strawberry the same way. I basically take it by the crown and I start from the point of the strawberry, and then I just sort of nibble on the strawberry until the strawberry is done. Now, of course, I love strawberries, and I had a lot of strawberries this morning. A big bowl, right? And most of that experience, I completely dismissed it. I was watching YouTube videos, right? I was eating and watching YouTube videos while I was eating my strawberries. One of the most pleasurable things that I do is eat strawberries. And I ate them the same way. So, all of that was automatized, and I lost the pleasure. The pleasure of me ordinarily eating strawberries, which is what I just love to do. Now, how could I have made that a little bit new? How could I have fostered appreciation for it? Well, I could have eaten strawberries a different way. Maybe I eat the strawberry out of the corner of my mouth, and then out of the front of my mouth, and then out of the side of my mouth. Maybe I could have taken smaller nibbles, alternated with big nibbles and small nibbles of the strawberry. I might have sliced the strawberry into strawberry slices. I mean, how many different ways can a man eat a strawberry? That is it. That's the creativity of making the ordinary new. Eating strawberries in a different way, maybe choosing different paths to eat a strawberry, focusing on different things, focusing on the smell of the strawberry, focusing on the taste of the strawberry, focusing on the appearance of the strawberry, focusing on the feel of the strawberry, right? Strawberries have these wonderful bumps, right? These seeds that are on the surface of the fruit. It's just, there's so much to learn and explore and have fun with when a person is eating strawberries. This amazing fruit, right? Really, in my mind, one of the most tasty foods on the planet Earth. I just love my strawberries. In fact, I think that strawberries taste better than blueberries. I know. Blueberries, of course, taste amazing too. And every batch of blueberries tastes different from every other batch. And the same is true with strawberries. There's always different varieties. They're coming from different areas. Just as there are wine connoisseurs, I imagine there are strawberry connoisseurs and blueberry connoisseurs. My point is that, fostering these good feelings about ordinary events means making the most and being creative of your everyday experiences. And I think that has an amazing way, a natural way of sort of ramping up a person's enjoyment of life. And I think that's what this statement's all about. Here's something as simple as reading, right? Now, I love to read, but you know what? Maybe if I took a little bit of time out, I could love to read even more than I do. What if I started maybe even rereading paragraphs, rereading sentences, falling in love with each word, each phrase, each turn of phrase, right? How the words are strung together in a sentence. The beauty of that, the poetry of stringing those words in that particular order, the connotations of each phrase, the different levels, right? Each statement in a sentence, has a lot of different interpretations. There's the traditional interpretation, maybe a common one. And then there's like less maybe a higher level abstract interpretations from different um, perspectives. And then there's also implications, right? Every statement has an implication, right? There's and you can extend those statements and the implications far out into the future. You can also discuss the history of those kind of ideas. You might even be able to think of, tell me about the etymology of the words. Tell me about the etymology of the phrases. You know, tell me a little bit about that. And you could, there's a, even, I mean, I guess what I'm suggesting is that every sentence, every word, every concept, every sort of development of the original concept into subsequent concepts, there's a source of joy. There are good feelings that can arise from this extra consideration, right? And so my focus here is paying attention to those ordinary joys, the ordinary pleasures. And you can make reading just this raucous, uh, amazing, just sort of transformative, really transformative experience every single day by focusing on, you know, just being creative and appreciating new aspects of what you're reading. So, you know, imagine falling in love with reading as if you were reading for the first time. Imagine falling in love with eating a strawberry like you were eating a strawberry for the very first time. Just imagine it. Imagine you were a baby eating a strawberry for the very first time, and just the pure enjoyment of the whole experience. This whole first time mentality, sort of a beginner's mindset, is really important. It's about sort of expanding, blowing up this, and focusing on the enjoyment of the moment, the enjoyment of the ordinary. And it's something that's possible for us to do all day, every day. And I really love this statement, from MJ Ryan. She is really pulling together, I think, an excellent idea. Anyway, thanks for allowing me to expand on that and amplify that. I think it's important. Seriously, I think it's important. I think it's probably one of the most important skills to developing an attitude of gratitude in one's life. Taking the ordinary and making it new again. This relates a lot to what awe is all about. The profundity of life, and just recognizing that. Okay, here's the next passage. It's on page 108 again. And MJ Ryan says, "Our eyes are opened once again to the miracles of the absolutely ordinary, and joy fills our hearts." Absolutely. And it is our eyes being opened again, right? Taking the ordinary as if it were new. We're opening our eyes again to the miracles. And really, it is a miracle. Every moment of our life is a miracle. Sitting back and appreciating that, it's just, wow. It's a fountain of joy that exists in every moment, right? There really is no cause for a person to focus on what's bad, unless they are literally in an emergency situation. If you are not in an emergency situation, then, why aren't you taking time out to recognize the miracles happening every moment around you? This is the true recreational activity of living, right? This is true recreation. And it's available to everyone, even quadriplegics, even people who have mental disorders. It's available to everyone every moment of the day. you know and it's a way to fill our hearts with joy. It's a source of joy. It's continuous. It's like we've got this, as human beings, we've got this fountain of joy that is just continuously erupting out of our hearts. It's possible. It's there. In fact, it's in front of our faces, and our minds are ignoring them. It's ignoring it. It's Here's the facts. The fact is, we are in heaven every moment of our lives. We are surrounded by some of the most miraculous benefits going that have ever existed. And still, it's amazing. We still focus on the bad and it's such a tragedy. It's really the tragedy of modern life. Why is it? I think it might be some kind of cultural thing. It's like human beings have this tradition of being upset and bothered by, this political person and over there, or this the statement that somebody made around the world, or this photograph, this photograph or video, this disturbing photograph and video that someone, I don't know. Why do we get so wrapped up in the negative around us when every single moment of our life is just this? Really, 98% of our lives are just an amazing miracle happening. Oh, so which book? So this is the book that I'm going through is Attitudes of Gratitude, How to Give and Receive Joy Every Day of Your Life by M.J. Ryan. Okay. So I'll move on to the next passage. This is page 117. And this is the passage that I highlighted. The truth is, of course, that happiness is an inside job. And beyond the subsistence level, money truly has very little to do with our happiness. This is on page 117. Okay, so the truth is, of course, that happiness is an inside job. That is true. So what does that really mean? What am I saying when I'm saying that happiness is an inside job? Well, I think one of the most important implications of that idea is that it is possible with our conscious choice. It's a volitional, voluntary choice. It's essentially us exercising our autonomy in the world. Here's the thing about being alive. We have a lot of freedom to decide what to do next. In fact, continuously we're asking ourselves questions about what's the book about? Well, the book is about gratitude. The title is called Attitudes of Gratitude by M.J. Ryan. That's the title, Attitudes of Gratitude. Anyway, so what was I getting onto? I was focusing on, happiness is an inside job. That's right. And it's under our voluntary control. And the fact is that we have a lot of freedom about what we choose to do next. In fact, as human beings, we're sort of drowning in freedom. We're asking ourselves, what are we going to do like today? All right. We're continuously asking this question. What am I going to do next? The thing is that it is up to us, right? It's up to us to decide what we do next. And that is where the opportunity lies, right? The opportunity is a voluntary opportunity to generate happiness in our own minds. And really, that's really the only source that's reliable. right? There are people who um, attempt to use external sources as their focus, right? In fact, a lot of people focus on their relationships, right? They're reliant on their partners. They are reliant on, say, the government. They are reliant on their jobs, right? There's this external focus. People are, and when really the real source of happiness is internal, right? It's your mind. It's a party in your mind. That's where the party begins. The party doesn't begin outside, right? Well, the party might begin outside, and they're a great stimulus, a great reminder about how to have fun, and that's great that it's there. But here's the thing. When do parties happen? Okay, the party starts at 9 o'clock p.m. only on Friday nights and Saturday nights. Okay, so 2 nights a week, we got the party, right? And but what about all the rest of the time? Well, there's like 168 hours in the week. And how long do the parties last? Okay, the party lasts 2 hours, 3 hours. If we're lucky, the party lasts 4 hours. If we're lucky, right? And who goes to a party every week, every Friday night at 9 p.m. or whenever the party starts at 11? Look, relying on your external reality to provide you the happiness you need to survive and be happy during the day is not enough. It's just not enough. You need a party in your mind. Okay. The love has to start in your mind first. Okay, yeah, so you're looking for a partner, right? You're hoping that your partner will bring you the love in your life that you want. Wrong answer. Okay. I mean, it's great to find a person who will love you and you can love back. But the love starts in your mind first, right? You've got a love factory in your brain. Where you can generate your emotions of happiness, joy, and love. This is where the love factory is. And you have the ability to manufacture those feelings anytime you want. Hey, it's great to have a partner if you can find one, as a single person, it's even if you're married. The loneliest people I know are married people. The loneliest people I know are married. Why? They're lonely because they've got a partner sitting beside them who is ignoring them. The partner is on their smartphone. And I can't think of a more lonely situation to be in. When you're harnessed to this other person who is ignoring you and who's not paying attention to you, that sounds like suffering to me. It doesn't sound like joy. It doesn't sound like connection. It sounds like suffering. Um, and so where's the source of happiness? It's in your mind. And all you need to do is decide, right? It's about, I don't know. The source and the factory of these emotions is in your mind. Now, how do you do it? How do you create a party in your mind? Well, it's about choice, right? These feelings are always flowing in your mind and in your life, in and out of your life all the time. And it's about focusing on them. It's about, your brain is always dismissing and making invisible all the good things that are going on in your life because they're ordinary. They're not exciting, so we become inured. Basically, we become numb. We become numb and we dismiss the love we feel for the people who are around us. Like the other day, there's this woman, I kind of have a crush on her. And I had an opportunity to exchange a pleasant smile and a high five, right? And I love that. And really, that could have been a trigger. And that actually was a trigger for enjoyment all day long. That was a peak experience that we experienced together. And, you know, and instead of dismissing it, I focused on it. And, this is where love starts. In fact, come to think of it, love, you could take a person and you could focus only on the good parts of that person and fall in love with them. Or you can decide to focus only on the bad parts and hate them. It's really your choice. And it has very little to do with the other person is doing. People who start relationships, like new relationships, they're continuously focused on all the positive aspects of their partner. And that's what makes love so wonderful. And of course, the more they're around them, the more they recognize and they see the bad parts of them, right? The parts they don't care for in the moment. And then they begin to hate them or get angry or get sad because of what they do. And, but again, that's just a choice. It is possible to love someone forever and to have happiness, joy, and love feelings for them. But the prerequisite is that you've got to decide to sort of make the ordinary new. That is, emphasize what you enjoy about those people all the time. In a way, relationships are really simple, and it's about what relationships and thriving in relationships about is emphasizing the positive aspects that you enjoy, and then de-emphasizing the negative aspects of that person. And if you can pull that off for 20 or 30 years, that's great. But here's the thing. You don't need to be in a relationship to do that. That's right. As a single person with your circle of friends, you can focus on the things you appreciate about them every day and sort of dismiss the things that you don't. Right? You could fall in love 10 times a day. In fact, that's a challenge I have for you. My challenge is you can fall in love 10 times a day. You can fall in love with men and women, fall in love with animals, fall in love with plants, fall in love with rocks. Why? Because the source of love is in your mind. The factory for all those loving feelings is right here, and it's under your voluntary control. I mean, really, heaven exists. It's real because you continuously project your internal material onto your external world. And heaven will only exist externally if it exists internally as well. And that is under your voluntary conscious control. That's right. Now, here's the thing. Here's the hurdle that we as human beings have to jump, though. The fact is, our brain, we've got this magnetic attraction to solving problems and things that go wrong. It's just part of our genetic makeup. It's helped us survive from our evolution over the last few million years. It's been an adaptive strategy for our neurons, right? Our brains are great at it. It works. It's what's kept us this chain of life living. And it's wonderful. And it's also, well, it's at a point now that we just don't need it. Well, I mean, we need it, but it doesn't have, let's not foster it. Let's not, it's important. But we can protect ourselves and be happy and enjoy life at the same time. We really can. We really can. And it just takes, we can think our way around the problem. And anyway, so Anyway, let's move on to the next passage of the book that I highlighted. I talked about how happiness is an inside job. Oh, this idea that money truly has very little to do with our happiness. Now, money is just an external fact, right? It's just a means of exchange. It's actually fairly neutral. And it's a way of storing energy and exchanging uh, time and effort. It's essentially an agreement, right? It's a contract, right? It's a contract we have with others. It's a contract like any other contract, um, an agreement like any other agreement that we have with other people. So it's really a fairly neutral phenomenon. Money is quite neutral. It's just how we make agreements with other people. And so the question is, what is your emotional response to making agreements with other people? Um, well, it's up to you to decide what your emotional response is to these contracts that you make with other people. And how you spend your resources. And you have a lot of resources. You've got money, time, energy. You've got your physical health. That's a resource. You've got your your mental health. That's a resource. You've got all kinds of money, so to speak, things that are of value, right? Things that you can exchange through contracts with other people. And I don't mean physical contracts or written contracts all the time. I'm talking about just regular agreements you have with your circle of friends or acquaintances. Money is just the resources that you have. And I'm abstracting money a little bit. I'm making it a little more general just to sort of help you recognize how neutral it is, right? And so my point is that money is what you make of it, really. And the source of happiness isn't money. Now your exchanges might trigger you initially. Like if you lose it, you might feel a sense of loss after having lost it. And that goes for your health or your mental health, or maybe a friend that you've lost or whatever. Again, when you lose any kind of resource, you might necessarily always feel bad, and in a way that's healthy too. You sort of have to. It's sort of like every negative feeling is accompanied with a positive feeling side by side. Our mind is a parallel processor, right? We're always looking at different perspectives. I think for every perspective of loss, there is a way to think of it as a gain. You might have to do some abstract thinking to sort of understand where the gain comes from, but quite often the gain comes from developing your virtues and developing your strengths, right? Sometimes when you lose something, that loss creates a recognition of just how powerful you are, how resilient you are. And that is a gain, right? Maybe if there's a loss or a delay in a gain, maybe you're developing the virtue of patience. And that is a gain. So you're always sort of working on developing personality strengths, developing character. That is a legitimate source of happiness. Even when things are rough, like if you've got cancer, right? You might still be learning about your body. Recognize that learning is a virtue, it's a strength, right? And the more you learn about your body, even say learning about how it fails, when you learn about how your body fails, that is a benefit. Um, you're sort of becoming more knowledgeable about what's going on. And that can be something to celebrate. I'm serious. I'm serious. It's something to celebrate, this new knowledge that you have, even in the midst of failure, in the midst of disease and death. Um, you know, you're learning something, right? In fact, just the fact that you're curious and developing your curiosity about, say, your chemotherapy treatments, that is a benefit. You're developing focus, concentration. Maybe also you're recognizing what you've lost, taking account, taking account of the things that you've lost. That in itself, that recognition, you also might be transformed. I can imagine, this might transform you. This loss of your health, you might be transformed into more of a meditator. You might take on a new persona. That might be a part of your growth. This, and also might open you up to opportunities to, say, learn about how you can partner with your doctor, or you might also develop the virtue of self-empathy if you are in serious pain, right? Experiencing chronic pain. Maybe it allows you to release tension, or maybe the focus on peace and ease in the midst of a health challenge. That's a virtue. Those are virtues that you can point to and be happy about. I'm serious. In the midst of chronic pain, in the midst of a grave disease, there are still sources of happiness. And it's important that you not dismiss them. Do not minimize the sources of happiness. This is just an offer. It's an invitation for you not to minimize the sources of pleasure and happiness and joy related to the strengths and virtues that you develop in the midst of pain, discomfort, and even death and dying. I know. It's easy for us as human beings to get over-focused on what's wrong, right? The issues and the problems, and completely dismiss the ordinary joys and enjoyment of life. And, all it takes is a voluntary choice. Here's the thing. Fact is, we can't control our health. I know we like to think that we have control over our health. And we do have a little bit of control. On a scale of 1 to 10, I would say the control of our health is probably about 20%. I know. Why do I say that? Because the millions of chemical reactions going on in our body are out of our control, right? Our heartbeat, out of our control. Our breathing, out of our control. The neurochemistry of our neurons, out of our control. We got some control over it, right? We can drink more water, eat more salty foods, read some potassium or whatever. But let me tell you, that control we're lucky if it reaches the 20% mark. 80% is out of our control. 80% is our environment and genetics, and it's about Chemical reactions. I kid you not. I'm a physicist. What goes on in a human cell is not under voluntary control most of the time. We're lucky if we can even nudge any of that. I'm actually more of a determinist. And so, if you think on a deeper level, there may not be any control because, well, just the facts of reality and causality. And I don't know. Have you learned about the laws of nature? The conservation of energy, conservation of mass, conservation of momentum, conservation of charge. Are you familiar with, and have you performed any quantum mechanical calculations? That's all pretty fixed. I'm serious. And there's really not a lot of avenue for voluntariness. And I'll get into the free will versus determinism debate in another video. But my idea here is that to the extent that you can focus on what's good in your life, well, that's really critical. Anyway, let's move on to the next passage in the book. That was page 177. Page 117. Page 121. The passage that I highlighted is, and yet all of what she has is completely invisible to her because it somehow doesn't match the picture of what she expected. So this passage is referring to the fact that we tend to overfocus on, human beings are quite idealistic. And what happens is that we've got this plan for the future, or even what the present ought to be like, which is here. And it's contrasted with what the present is in actuality, right? And so there's this discrepancy, right? It's a distance between what we like and what is, right? And when the discrepancy is slight, we're moderately satisfied. And when the discrepancy is, there's a great difference, we become rather upset about it. Angry or sad. Anyway, we feel a lot of negative emotions. Basically, we have needs that are unmet, right? These are needs, wants, goals, wishes. All right. And so here's the thing. Our eyes, our vision is looking towards our goals and what we want to happen. And when our focus is on the goals, particularly if there is a separation, and particularly if we overfocus on our goals, our attention is not on what's present. And we're basically escaping from ourselves, right? There's a separation, and we ignore what's going on. We're over focusing on the benefits of this pretend future, and we're not spending time on the benefits of the present moment. And while it's fine to do on occasion, right? We've all got to sort of evaluate where we are and how we're doing. And that's important. What also is important is recognizing the facts of reality in the moment and appreciating what's going right now. Appreciating how the present moment is meeting our needs, right? It's true that, we've got this, we're identifying and fusing with this idea about the future and how these future ideals can meet our needs. Boy, only if that future that we're separated from existed, then our needs would be met. But there are ways that our needs are currently being met in the present moment. And so, and basically, this idea is that we're dismissing the benefits of the moment. In fact, those benefits are invisible, right? They are invisible because somehow they're not matching the picture of what we expect. And it's kind of interesting how it's like a trade, right? We're trading this idea, we want our needs to be met. And by the way, they are continuously being met all the time in ways that we don't appreciate and recognize. And like I say, there's a basket of needs that we all have, right? We have a need for food, water, air, shelter, security, clothing. We have needs, right? And I can imagine a future when all these needs are met 100%. And I could also imagine a present where none of these needs are met. None of these needs are met. Okay. Or they could be met more, right? So I guess the focus here is my point. Let me just sort of get into my point here. Okay. It's about matching, right? There's a mismatch. We're recognizing a mismatch. This is important. There's it's an authentic judgment about the way we want things to be and the way things are, right? There's a difference. We're recognizing that there's a mismatch. There are some things that match, some things that don't match. And there's so many points that I could bring out about this subject, but I guess my point is about invisibility, right? It's about where we put our attention and how sometimes we forget about how our needs are being met in the present when we overfocus on what the future could be, right? The opportunity in the future for having needs met in a more perfect way. And let me suggest to you that our needs, at least to some extent, are always being met. I know it's hard to acknowledge that. But let me suggest to you that things aren't as bad as they are. The decision about whether our needs are being met or not is largely a subjective decision. I know. Here's an example. Clothing. So tell me about your needs relating to clothing. And what I'm going to be emphasizing is how subjective they are. So I want you to compare just that need for clothing. Here's the facts. Our body needs clothes, though on some level we also don't need clothes. It depends on how you think about it, right? You might imagine that our perfect clothing is our own skin. Of course, here's the thing. Our human body has the ability to adapt to different variations in temperature. It's true, we become accustomed to continuous warmth. Room temperature, 71 degrees, 72 degrees. Our bodies adapt. right? And you know what? Our bodies can adapt to colder temperatures too. You have to realize we've only had, how long has it been that human beings have had internal indoor heating? Um, it's only been about 100 years. Continuous indoor heating. This year we've had fires, right? And they've been intermittent. Um, but somehow, for the last few millennia, humans have gotten along with, at least by today's standards, clothing that's very inadequate. I mean, just think about the Greeks and their clothing, essentially a blanket, right? That they've moved around their body, Now contrast that with, say, a teenager of today who wants to go get their clothing from Abercrombie and Fitch, right? And they want to have the most stylish clothes. And, if they focus on that enough, they'll get those stylish clothes. Well, anyway, I'm going to wrap things up. I know it's a little random, but anyway, I just, this idea that happiness is an inside job, this idea that the benefits in our life and how our needs are met are completely invisible to us. It's already been a while that I've been making this video, and I just wanted to, I'll just wrap things up. So, I hope you enjoyed my presentation today. I certainly did. I love talking about these subjects. And the main point I'm trying to bring down is this idea that we have an emotion factory in our brain, and that is the source of our emotions. And it's great when their external world triggers those emotions in us. What a relief. We don't have to use our sense of concentration or our volition to do it. It just happens automatically, but it's not reliable. There are better ways to foster these good emotions, these pleasant emotions in our mind. And a lot of it has to do with just where we direct our attention, through focus, through questions, through attitudes that we develop. Anyway, again, I want to say that I love you. I think the world of you. I think you're amazing. Thanks for bearing with me and going through this book today. I enjoy this time with you that we can share and connect. And just so pleased to have you in my life. Pleased that we can share this time together. I hope you learned a little something about me today. And I hope you have a fantastic day. Like I mentioned, I'm going to Universal Studios today. And going to have fun down in Los Angeles, California. And I'm going to probably be exiting my apartment just a few minutes after I finish this video. So I want you to know that I love you, that I cherish our relationship, that I love you just the way you are. I am a devoted father, and I care about what you think. I care about what's going on in your life. I care about your thoughts and your ideas, and I respect those thoughts and ideas. I respect your autonomy, and I really honor you, and I want you to know that you are in the driver's seat, right? You've got control, and with that brings ease and confidence, and I just want to transmit to you that as best I can, just sort of, I don't know, that love and appreciation for you. Well, again, I hope you have a wonderful day. So peace. Bye bye, girl. I'll see you next time.